Hi guys, this is Gonçalo from the Qlik Integration Group. Today, for our third episode, we had an amazing conversation with Thomas and Andres from Cluster. But before we go to the main topic, I would like to give a big thank you to Richard, to Ryan, and to Piers for all their help and to make this group possible with me. So now, for today's topic, we had, like I said, an amazing conversation with Thomas and Andres where they explain us and show us how we can leverage the content library available in our Qlik enterprise. So here the main idea is basically instead of you using in your mashup a database, you can actually leverage this content library to actually store some information like user information, user preference or profiles, and it will make your process much easier. It's much simpler because you are already using what exists in our Qlik environment. So I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it, and stay tuned and stay safe. So hi guys, my name is Gonçalo Pereira. We are here today to speak with Thomas and Andres about some context of library around the mashups. So first of all, we will do a small intro of ourselves, and then we will go straight up to the topic. So like I said, my name is Gonçalo Pereira. I've been working with Qlik for around 10 years, more or less, mostly in terms of consultancy part, in terms of building the dashboards. Now I'm starting to also do a little bit around the extensions. Yeah, and of course, eventually I would like to understand what is a mashup, not what is, but how to develop a mashup and stuff like that. So Richard?
Oh yeah, I'm Richard Pierce. I'm on Qlik Ruiz. Working with Qlik for about 9 years, contracting now, back in perm. But yeah, I'm really interested in this sort of mashup side and the sort of APIs and the capabilities. So yeah, looking forward to today's session. Right?
Hi, I'm Ryan Harper. I'm a senior Qlik Sense developer at HSBC. Got 7 years experience using Qlik View initially, and then now I would say Qlik Sense, but jumped over Qlik Sense and now pretty much use the APIs most of the time, creating mashups and web apps using either React or Svelte. Piers?
Hi, I'm Piers Batchelor. I am a product architect at Vislib. I've had around 6 years working with QlikView and Qlik Sense with a consulting background with marketing clients.
Cool. So first of all, Thomas and Andres, thank you very much for being here today. So I will pass the word to Andres. Just talk a little bit about yourself, and then we go for Thomas, and then we can move to the topic.
Absolutely. So, thank you, Gonçalo, and thank you for the platform, guys. This is amazing, an amazing opportunity to share a bit of what we've achieved with the Qlik engine and the QMC, basically. So, first of all, my name is Andres. I am a front-end developer, and now I've been working with Cluster for about 1.5 years. I've been doing their international development, focusing on expanding internationally. And what we want to show you today is something quite interesting that many people in the Qlik world haven't been able to, or are not versed into, which is how to use the Qlik Sense content library as basically as a database to store user information and to display it in different settings in different ways. And this is a problem we identified with one of our clients, a few of our clients actually, that needed a mashup or a dashboard that stored specific user information into that into a database, and that they could use or segment into different settings. So Thomas will go into it a little bit more in detail, but yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
All right. So yeah, thanks. So my name is Thomas. I'm the head of development here at Cluster. I started 3 years and a half ago with my brother, and now we're expanding a little bit our company. We have like product, and we develop basic mashups, right? So basically, what happens here is that I'm gonna share my screen actually to start focusing on the problem. Let me check desktop 1, right? That's it. Let me know when you're seeing my screen.
Yeah,
Yes,
we can.
All right. What happened? We had a couple of projects that the client wanted to have some data that is related to the user, like user A wants that his mashup is black and the other one is white and the other one is yellow and the background color changes. And how can I do that? I need like somewhere to store the data, right? So probably I would think, oh, maybe I want to have like an external database to just save those settings and read that with the user ID, right? But here at Cluster, we're not backend experts. We don't have like backend developers actually. We're just a bunch of front-end developers that like to see a beautiful screen. So
we tend to do everything with JavaScript. Yes.
Yeah. So we want to do everything. Yeah, like that. So we thought, hey, external database, create authentication and session and stuff. No, that's not going to happen. Right. So what we have inside the browser, we have like local storage, right? Local storage is good, but it's local, right? So it's not going to work if I open Chrome and then Firefox, and it's not going to save my data or anything like that. So yeah, so that doesn't work. Just to show you, we have this dashboard that I've made, right? This is a really simple dashboard, a mashup, right? So this is basically a test that we've done here. And
to showcase today what we can achieve with using the content library within the QMC and use it as a database for our mashup. So
yeah, so for, actually before that, the local storage that we thought is not a solution. The external database is not a solution. So what about an QVF, just a QVF, just to save data and use section access to get data from the user or something like that? Yeah, that would work. But what about the user wants to migrate to another server? The ID is going to change and a lot of stuff is going to break. And we're not sure if we need to actually store data and save data inside a QVF, and it's all going to be inside one QVF, right? So I didn't like that idea, right? So what do we end up to? I was just looking at the screen and thinking, how the heck am I going to do that? I need to have something here. We have a lot of things here, right? Custom properties, extensions, security rules, extremes, app objects, and content libraries. Data is content, right? Content is data, actually. So what about that? Usually we have the default content library that has only images from the Qlik Sense server, right? So what people usually do, I checked this documentation about content libraries, and it says Qlik Sense only uses image files. And what people usually think, they get inside the content library and see, oh, there's only PNG files here. So I can only upload PNG files, right?
So, yes,
so usually,
it starts as a misconception that the content library can only host files for images, but in the end, you can actually upload any data type file JSON files, HTML files, plain text files that then you can use and repackage to deliver content into the mashup, right?
Yes. Yeah, so basically what we want is to have like some kind of security, to have like user A can't see user B settings and something like that. So using a content library actually gives us the power of security rules, right? So that I wouldn't have with an external database that I would have to create the authentication and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm going to do now is, all right, I know that content library can store JSON, and then I can actually get data here from a content library, right? So what I'm going to do now is to create a content library called cluster design.settings, right? Settings, I convention this way, so right? So I'm logged in as cluster design, and this is my ID, right? So
it's the ID for the user. So the
idea
behind this is you can create different content libraries for each user, which is going to take advantage then of the Qlik Sense user authentication. So this solves an additional problem, or it solved an additional problem for us for this client that needed it, is that they needed that user segregation, and if we did it on a separate database, we would have to develop that and then integrate it into the Qlik engine. But then through the QMC and using Qlik Sense's own content library, we already had that authentication already out of the box. So that saved a ton of time.
Yeah.
And also budget for the client. So
yeah, that's the main problem. The client wouldn't want to have like an external database, and we creating a lot of stuff just for like changing background color, right? That doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to do now, I just created this content library. So in my mashup, how can I? This is appearing on my screen. All right. All right. So here on my mashup, I'm logged in as cluster design, right? My mashup is already looking at a content library, right? So I created a JavaScript code here that is actually doing a lot of stuff. And I have a function that is uploading content, some file to a content library that I just need to provide the name, right? So basically, what I need to do is to, if I need to get the user ID, right? And then just upload some content to my user ID plus my settings. And then it's going to save in a settings.json file, right? With my global variable that I declared here just to test, right? So what I'm going to do now.
So Thomas, this basically works as a push, a data push that the user on this interface, he can then push data into like upwards into the Qlik engine, right? And it stores it at in the content library.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. So like right now we don't have like any records on my content library, right? And I'm logged in as cluster design. So when I go to save settings, I click here, and then it's going to post and create a settings.json file inside my content library that I have access. So basically I hit here and it's going to upload, right? And it's done. Settings.json saved. This just created an empty object inside my settings.json, right? So if I just reload here, yeah, now we have a new file here. And then if we access that
file directly on the browser.
Yeah, that's it. We have like an empty object, right?
An empty object on the array.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now what I want to do, I have my global variable settings that I've just showed you. And if I hit settings dot, for example, theme equals to dark, right? So I have settings, and settings is an object with theme. I can actually put anything that I want here. Purple. Those two attributes I already managed to read on my mashup. So it's going to change my navbar color and my background color for my body, and it's going to append this class on my body classes, right? Right. So I'm gonna hit save. Done. I'm gonna hit reload, and then we have our theme and nav color, right? So this is the user saving it's his own settings here. So now I can read that anywhere. I can read in an extension or anything else. So I'm gonna hit load settings, and it's going to get my file, and then just using those variables anywhere in any way I want, right? So, and basically that's what happens. So I just got my variables from the content library that I only I have access. So if I reload the page, of course we have like a blink because the request is not finished, but it's going to always persist the data, and no local storage things. I can open in any browser, and that's pretty cool actually. Yeah. So to make sure that this is working as expected, I'm going to log in as another user, right? That doesn't have like root admin access or anything like that, right? We can see that my user cluster design is root admin, right? So this may be a fake test, right? So I want to log in as this guy, Caetano, okay? And I'm going to, he's not root admin and anything like that. So I'm gonna create.
So his settings are gonna be different.
Yeah, they should be different. Mm-hmm. Company dashboard. Of course, I can create a process to create all the content libraries that I need with each user, right? But now just for this podcast, I'm going to create manually this for Caetano, right? So he can update and read. And it's just Caetano, right? It's not no one else should.
Anyone else
should access.
Should be able to access that that settings file. It's only for him, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to log in as Caetano, and that's that's it. All right. So I'm on my mashup again. All right, so I'm gonna save my settings. Done. It's saved. Right. So it created our empty object, just as we saw before, right? Now we have
object specific for this user, right?
Yeah. Now we can see that my cluster design settings is intact and nothing changed here. And now I have Caetano settings. Since I'm root admin, I can access that, right? But I'm going back to the other user. Right. So I can change my global variable. I don't know, white and nav color equals to green, whatever. Yeah, that's it. Hit save settings, and then we have done the save settings, and then we are going to load that, and then we have our user setting for Caetano, and it's different than this other user, right?
The root admin, yeah.
Yeah, the security rule part is important because the user Caetano can't actually see the other user settings. So the security rule for that's pretty basic. You just saw that. We just need to give to a specific user, and that can be done like automatically when we access the mashup, because we have the ID, the user ID, right? So with the QPS API. So I think this is really great, and you can actually store any kind of thing here. You can upload a file and just use an avatar or something like that, and user image. Like I just checked on the Qlik Sense Hub, there's an image on the left, right? But what I can't do anything. I can't do anything. Like I could use a content library for that. I could use here is Caetano, right? But he has more than just Caetano in his name. So we could just create a username and name, and then it's going to change to Caetano de Souza, for example, right? So this kind of stuff, we can actually have the user profile inside the content library. So this way we can actually create a lot of stuff, actually. And it's not just related to UI or anything. We can, the user,
it's about, this gave us the ability to give Qlik Sense users more autonomy on a lot of things, on how to display their name, or how to display even content, custom content for each individual user. Because not on a dashboard, user profile A is not going to be seeing, or not going to be willing to see or edit certain content that they don't need for their daily operations. So this enabled us to bring what the regular mashup into another level of customization and of user interaction. So they don't depend as much on a Qlik Sense administrator to give them access, or give them access to certain data. They can even come to create their own dashboard in that way, and customize it for their own needs based on the Qlik Sense data that we have in the background.
Yeah,
that's the picture behind it.
Yeah, so basically this is what we wanted to show. I think this is interesting, and it gives us a lot of possibilities. Like I want to show my favorite quotes on my home screen always. Imagine that I have 10 mashups, and for each one I want to read that my navbar is going to be red for all of them, because I like red navbars, whatever. Yeah, so this is the kind of thing that we have. Technically speaking, this we went through a lot to get into this, and we thought that this could be useful to share with the community. And yeah,
correct.
I think that's pretty much it about the
Just one quick question, actually. In your opinion, of course, you guys as developers, what are the main benefits and even problems that you think that people can actually face using the content library?
Yeah, my opinion is that you have your the security rules applied to it easily, right? So with an external database, you're probably going to need more effort to do that. With like a backend developer, and you actually can do this with just a couple of JavaScript lines that I've done here. It's like 70, something like that, and just create something. So you don't need a lot of knowledge to do this. Actually, you just need to.
Another thing, Thomas, is that it's a lightweight solution. So because that JavaScript file there, that's on the screen right now, it's about 75 lines, and it doesn't have a huge impact on performance at all.
This one, yeah.
Exactly. So you can store here a bunch of data here as in JSON formats. It's going to be pretty lightweight, and then even if you have, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000 users, it's not going to have a huge footprint on your Qlik Sense performance. Another thing that I can think of now is the enhanced security or the security that comes from staying all within the Qlik Sense engine. So you don't need to think about securing your separate server and then securing that server and then linking it to or authenticating it to the Qlik Sense engine. That part it doesn't make sense to have it. So you have it all in one place. So
the end is also all about using the resources that we have available instead of bringing more other third-party stuff like database and stuff like that. So if we have already the resources, why not using them? Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's one other thing that is important to notice, that you have like maximum file size for each file inside your content library, right? So the maximum size of a file attached is like this, right? So if you have a settings, if you have like a lot of data, then it's going to be a problem. But for user settings, for other kind of stuff like that, you can easily use that.
Is there anything that you found other than that to be a limitation? Anything that you wanted to do that you couldn't do inside the content library?
Not yet, actually. Since we can upload any type of file, I'm not sure if that's the question. But I can upload images and spreadsheets, and then just use some kind of setting.json to point to that URL and just use it anywhere that I want. So yeah, we couldn't find anything that block us to use that.
Piers, maybe the only limitation would be those 50 megabytes. If we need to load content or data that exceed 50 megabytes, then that wouldn't work. But that's about the only thing that we found that limits us.
Yeah, probably if you want to store like log history for the past like 10 years or something, and it's going to break everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking about that possibility.
Yeah.
But
No, it's almost like we are using this as a database, but it's actually not entirely a database. So
yeah.
Correct. Yeah. It's a small scale database.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
No, but it's actually really cool. Actually, I had no idea, to be honest. I think I never actually click on that part of the QMC.
Wow.
Neither do we. Yes. We actually were desperate, and then we found that.
I've used the content library quite a lot, working with a lot of marketing clients in the past, and where I've been working with clients that have been a group and they've had loads of sub brands. Everybody wants something different. They want their individual brand, their part of the company, to look different.
Correct.
And this is perfect for that.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
No, it's actually really cool. Even inside of a company, in different areas, the sales will want one thing, or even they actually, like you guys said, each user will want to see a different color or a different branding, because they need to create some kind of report to other stuff. This is actually really, really cool. Really cool, actually.
So I've got a few questions. So I'm assuming you can, because I know there's an upload button, so you can obviously upload, so you can create the settings beforehand, like you did, and you can kind of say, like, so you could create like corporate colors and create the nav bar and the background and allow the user So not really get involved in adding it. You can kind of just create a settings.json file and add all the settings there and then just upload it. I'm assuming that I'm correct, okay? So
Yes,
then
that's right.
the second though is now I'm kind of wondering, though, imagine you got 1,000 users and you've got kind of different settings for everything. Can you put that all into one JSON file, or are you going to then create separate JSON files for each one? How
So you're saying like I want two different settings, like load settings 1 or 2?
Yeah, say, I mean, even 10 users, and say you kind of want 10 users, want totally 10 different dashboards. Firstly, I'm assuming the user doesn't really want to go to the console and start typing in settings.nav color or whatever to add their colors. They're probably going to come to you and say, can you please do that for me? I know what I want the nav bar to look like, but you've got 10 people with 10 different. I'm wondering, are you then in the content library adding 10 different files, or are you adding the different files within the one settings that you've created? So, you know, when you go into content library, you can see where you saw default, or you know, whatever if you go back there, am I creating one for each user, or am I going inside of, okay, so you've created 2. So would I then need to have to create 10 if I had 10 users with 10 different settings?
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's like, this is basically one example that we've done here, but you could actually just have a group of users, like, I think that's what you asked, like executive dot settings, right?
Correct. Yes,
correct. Yeah, so this shouldn't be an issue, and you just need to change the group for, I don't know, executive.
Like something. An AD group of some sort that you could add all the users, okay?
Yeah, that's not a problem, but the user actually is not going to hit like this, right? He's going to have like
because I think they'll totally confuse the user, like, what?
Ryan,
to tell the user, you need to go to the developer tab and start typing.
No. But you see there, what Thomas did on the console there.
It's just that
could be yes, exactly. That could be put as a UI on the screen on the mashup. So the user would be using this as he would type things, or he would drag and drop elements that he sees on the screen. Then the browser interprets that. The JavaScript interprets that as the commands that Thomas was typing, and then pushes all that information into the content library of the QMZ, right? So what Thomas is doing there is it's just the development part, because
it's just a workaround at the end.
Exactly. Once this concept that you see on the screen here gets that logic within the JavaScript is understood, then we can pull that and put it as a UI on the screen, so the user doesn't actually type any code whatsoever.
Cool. No, really cool. Actually.
Very cool. Nice work, guys.
Yeah, amazing. Is there any other questions from you guys? No. So I would say, before we wrap up this one, first of all, thank you very much. It was really cool. I would just say, before we actually finish, do you guys want to, let's say in 5 minutes, to show us a little bit what you guys been doing in your world in this case?
Exactly. So exactly, Gonzalo. I have a few examples of what those dashboards end up looking like once that those snippets of code that you've seen, what they actually look like. So I'll share my screen shortly. Hold on, where screen share. Let me know if you're able to see my screen. Okay. So I'll skip through the boring part. I actually just condensed our commercial presentation into 5 minutes. So we are a Qlik partner, and we've been a Qlik partner for a number of years. And as far as we know, we're the only actually the only Qlik partner that focuses on UX exclusively. So we create experiences through mashups and extensions that native Qlik Sense applications are unable to deliver. This is our main point and our main value to market. We do this in three aspects with projects, just customizing dashboards, BI dashboards for specific client expectations or requirements. We also have we have products. Our main one being New Hub is a hub that takes advantage of what we just talked about and tries to cater content to specific users in a much better way than the actual regular Qlik Hub. And then we also do training on this. So we train our clients and our partners in how to properly develop all of these mashups so that the maintenance doesn't become a major problem, and with best JavaScript with the best resources that JavaScript has on hand. So how do we do it? We first do our user research on what the client is going to need, the user profiles that they need, who's going to be accessing what content. Then secondly, we go into design phase, very specific and very like almost pixel perfect design on dashboards that take advantage of the Qlik Sense engine. And then finally, once after a few iterations, once the design is approved with the client, we go ahead and start coding like crazy. So we do the HTML templates with the JavaScripts, and then finally we connect those to the QVF objects, right?
That design right there in the middle was crazy indeed.
Yes, it is. So you'll see designs on this level that these are mashups that turn into complete dashboards for our clients. And the KPIs and all the content that you see here, it's all reading data from a source QVF that then we are able to translate into a very interactive mashup. Just a few examples of those of how you can customize this to brand these things into oblivion, basically, right? And also the interactions that we have with it. And then finally, our product, we actually just released a new version last week, version 2.38 of New Hub, which is a mashup that aggregates Qlik Sense apps and mashups into a much more intuitive user interface for everyone. So that's basically what we do. We're a Brazilian company, but I'm Colombian and I live in Bogota, and we're expanding internationally. So as of last year, we've expanded into Israel, the United States, Italy, Croatia, and hopefully soon also other places like Chile and Peru. So that's what we have.
Well done, guys. In that case, well done.
Nice.
And the work seemed really cool. Actually, really cool.
Well,
thank
you. It was a pleasure to actually have this conversation with you guys. Thank you for the platform.
No, thank you for being here.
That's not my name. That's all right.
It's your brother's name.
And that's not my number. But
No, guys, again, really cool stuff. Thank you very much. I actually had no clue about anything about this. Really cool. Thank you very much for your time and for actually showing us this.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
So, guys, thank you very much for the session. Take care.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Thank
let's
you.
keep in touch.
Cheers.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.